All right, guys. So we are all done with day two of the Wealthy Trustee workshop. Today we went over the private family trust where you're able to hold your personal assets that have nothing to do with business and have nothing to do with the nonprofit. Okay. So with that being said, I want to open up the floor for Q&A so that I can answer all questions that you guys might have based off of the information that we went over today. So let's get started with Q&A. The first hand that I see is Leviticus, and I'll go dive into the chat as well.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
Hey, good day to you. Hey, great class today. Greatly appreciate all the information. Very informative. And
Thank you. Thank you.
yes, make me feel a little more confident today. So I appreciate that.
Yes. I know
Great teaching.
we're building upon it. Just wait till how you feel on Friday, okay?
All right, I'm excited. I can't wait.
Yes.
Okay. So hey, earlier, I think last night, I actually sent a text asking information or a little guidance on how to get the recordings. And I think I had to respond back uh, about inserting my email, but also to the passcode. So I got kind of stuck right there, and I need a little assistance with that.
With the login credentials.
Yes.
Oh, okay, no problem. Okay, so we have a system manager that will be able to help you with your login. So are you saying that you received the link? And because once you click on the link that you received in order to like get your login, it's like an auto enroll. And so it enrolls you right into it enrolls you right into yours, but you're prompted to put in a new password. And so you said that you got stuck there. You were not able to create a new password.
Yeah, that's correct. I think
Okay.
it actually gave me an option to reset or something like that. I didn't want to do it yet. So I said, when I come on today, I'll just ask to make sure I'm doing it correctly.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. So you can go ahead and reset it. So I guess you had probably clicked on a different link and not the auto enroll link. So yeah, you have to create a password. So if you don't initially have, your password, then reset it.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that.
You're
Greatly. And
welcome.
also, too, I appreciate the information yesterday. I had a question about the best states that you would recommend, or something states to look up that would be more conducive or a little more profitable with you actually starting a trust. So I looked up a couple of them, and some of the ones you suggested was great. And I looked at it, and certain states actually have like asset protection, and some have special laws dealing with privacy laws. So I looked up that a couple days before we got started, and even today. So I greatly appreciate that. So, is
You
there
are so
any others?
welcome.
Okay.
Um, so the ones that I mentioned are the ones that I would just reiterate right now. And so the concern with you choosing a domicile is in the event that your trust is sued, the court of competent jurisdiction is going to be in the domiciled state.
Awesome. Okay. Great. Great. So that's a state I would have to appear. I have to go to appear in court. Correct.
Correct.
Okay. Great. Okay. That's all I needed. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Leviticus.
You're
Next
welcome.
we have HLT Fleet LLC.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute.
Oh, it's
Hey,
okay.
Monica.
Hey,
Hi.
Monica. How are you?
Hello. Good. Thank you. It was great. Thank you. Love all the information. Definitely help with he asked a question that I had one too about the domicile, so that really helped. But
Great.
I had two questions aside for that. First in section 4. So it says if a grantor-trustee relationship exists, that the trustee shall immediately resign. So does that mean that my husband wouldn't be able to be a grantor and I would be a trustee. Is that just because of a conflict of interest?
Yes, definitely. You do not want your spouse to be the grantor.
Okay. So we would want to have somebody outside of that. Is it that it has to be somebody com like not related or something?
So best practice is for you to choose someone who's not related.
Okay. All right. And then the transfer of trust certificates, the ancestor. So naming the ancestor. Can there be two ancestors listed on there? That's page 13, or is it just one?
Yeah, you could have multiple. So if you could have two, three, four, some people they put their grandparents' names, some people put their parents' names, some people put, you know, parents and grandparents. Um, some people put themselves.
Okay. All right. One more. Underage beneficiaries. So with the underage beneficiaries, can I had seen you had on there a bullet that says, I guess the trustee can control like the funds, like distributions, etc.
Yeah.
Um, do you always have to leave that clause in there that it would go to the guardian or whoever's a caretaker?
So if you want to remove it, you can.
Okay.
You just have to have a plan because if, for example, a lot of people they think about now, right? And so a lot of people they're like, well, my children are in their 30s. It's like, okay, but what about your grandchildren? Right? What's going to happen in the event that they have all of these distributed funds? Who's going to manage it for them? And so if you don't have it in the trust, then your board is going to have a meeting about it because there needs to be a resolution.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah, that's all my questions for now.
Okay, sounds good, Monica.
I appreciate it.
All right, you're welcome. Next we have Najma. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, Christina. Excellent, excellent, excellent presentation. I love it. I've got several questions, but some of them have already been answered. You
Okay,
mentioned the donors, different states. You didn't mention any names that you thought would be best? And I want to know what those names were that you suggested on the other programs.
oh yeah, absolutely. So it's Wyoming, South Dakota, and Nevada.
Okay. The other thing, I think it was the Schedule A with John Alex. You mentioned his birth date was 2020 for I think it was for the home, for the real estate. So it could be someone under 20, under 18, under 21 years of age. We can have as I think it was a beneficiary for the real
Yes.
estate. It was 2020.
Yeah, so your beneficiary just has to be born.
Oh,
That's
okay.
it. So they could be 1 day old.
Mhm. And
So
when it comes to
it can't be a minor, yes.
okay. So when it comes to notarizing the documents, the people have to be in the same state, or can you do something on Zoom where the documents can be notarized, or it has to be right in person with the notary?
So best practice is to have the liquid signature on the trust documents. So if the other party is not located in the same state, then you can execute it
Mhm.
in counterparts. So that means that you would duplicate the notary acknowledgement section so that they're able to notarize their signature and you're able to notarize your signature.
Okay. Say that again, Christina.
Yep. So the notary section, you're just going to duplicate it so that there's two notary sections, one for them, one for you.
And the last question I have is, can the document be backdated as far as the start date? Say, for instance, we have today is January 13th. If someone wants to put February on December 1st, is that legal? It has to be the date that you get started.
So there's going to be two different dates on the trust. There's going to be
Mhm.
an establishment date, which is when the agreement happened. So if your grantor and the trustee had the agreement in December, then you can have December be the establishment date. But if you're getting it notarized tomorrow, then the notarization date is going to say January 14, but the establishment date, which is when the trust was created, is when the agreement happened, which is December.
Okay, thank you so much. I love this information. It is so powerful. Thank you, Christina.
You are so welcome. Thank you. I am grateful that you're here, Najma. Thank you so much. Next we have Laura. Hi, Laura. How are you?
I'm good. So kind of slightly piggybacking off of what she just said, as far as the two different dates, I figured that. Let me make sure my mic's over here. I figured that we could, like I think it was Article 22, where it was mentioned of, in witness thereof, the grantor hereof, and the first trustee there hereof, in the name of the board, have set their hands and seals in token and acceptance of. So basically, there's a date expressed, this date of whenever. So I thought that was the birthday of the trust, if I was correct. But then it also was right above a notary part, so I wasn't sure if that was actually supposed to be the birthday of the trust or the actual notarization date of the trust for that section in particular, with the acceptance of the trust bylaws. That's the area that I'm talking about.
Are you talking about the one for today?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, the
so
one.
so you're supposed to put the establishment date.
Okay, and then okay, awesome. And then just underneath that, when we get it notarized, the actual date. And then secondly, uh, so there was a section where it was talking about how appointing the first secretary. And it said to appoint a first secretary whose sole duty and power shall be to serve as a protector. And but then it mentions that the first secretary has the power to remove any secondary trustee upon written notice. So what if I don't want to necessarily give that power to the secretary? Because I plan to have my
So,
second
so
trustee be my husband.
yeah, so it's optional, so you can
Okay.
remove it.
Okay, so I can just have any, but if I don't have a protector set, then I can always just set one eventually down the road. It's not a,
Yeah, you won't be able to. The secretary has to do it.
okay. Okay, cool. And then the last one is I was concerned about self dealings. So if I put my act, should I know we're taught to have PO boxes, which I agree with. However, there was mention that the trustees' rent can be covered, and so would it be weird if I didn't have the address that the rent was actually being paid at listed, saying that I was conducting business like at the house that I'm, in right now, instead of the PO box?
So that's separate. So the trust having its own address is separate. So what we're saying is that the trust is able to pay for any expenses where the business is being conducted. And that's anywhere in the world where the business is being conducted. So if it's being conducted at the at the trustee's residence, then certain expenses can be covered. If it is being conducted in a hotel, then certain expenses for that hotel or that shelter it will be covered.
Okay. So I guess I was just trying to figure out if there was anywhere where I would actually have to put the address that I live in listed, or if I can leave that off.
So you will have to always, so you can document that. You can put it in a board meeting.
In the minutes.
So in the board meeting, that's where you're going to put the address of where the meeting is being conducted. So if you're having a meeting at your residence, you'll put that address. So every single meeting, you have to document the location.
Okay. And then that's where I can justifiably be able to say this is why this rent is being covered by this trust.
Yeah,
Okay.
because the meetings are held there.
Okay.
And
Awesome.
you know, all type of other types of trust business, not just the meetings.
Mm,
Okay. And then lastly,
Okay.
how do I make, this was the self-dealings question. How do I make sure that it doesn't look like I'm having self-dealings since, you know, I'm the trustee, but then I was going to make the beneficiary be like individual private trust of me and my husband since we don't have any children at the moment. So I was trying to figure
Oh,
out how it won't look like because beneficiaries aren't allowed to um, control anything or until everything is distributed or dissolved. So I guess that's what I was trying to figure out. How would I make the distinction that I am not the beneficiary? It's just a separate trust,
so you are
even though
not
we're
the
the
so
yeah.
you are not the entity, Laura. I think that you have the mindset that you are the trust.
Right, and I'm just the trustee. And the beneficiary is a completely separate entity because it has its own EIN number. I was just a little concerned because we were the grantor of our individual trusts that we were going to be listed as the beneficiaries.
And so is it irrevocable?
Yeah, they're living trusts. Yeah, irrevocable living trusts.
So they're revocable.
Oh, no, no, they were irrevocable living trusts.
Okay. And so you're just the grantor?
Yes. And that's just has my estate as that trust has my estate as the beneficiary.
Okay,
And
so it's all in the way that you operate the subtrust.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, so documentation is important. I don't know how you're going to operate it, so there's not anything
Ye-
further I can say. I don't know how you're
Yeah,
going
no,
to operate it.
I get you. I get you. I
Yeah,
appreciate it. Thank
yeah,
you.
you're welcome, hon. Next is Reese. Did I say your name right? Seeking Reese?
Hi. Hello.
How are you? I can hear you.
Hi. Yes, you said my name right. Thank you.
Awesome.
So the question I have is, uh, can the successor trustee be the same as the protector?
I only heard
Be the same
partially.
person?
Can the successor trustee be the same as? I cannot hear the rest of the question. The
You sound like
audio
you said the same as the
is,
protector.
Yeah.
oh,
So can the successor trustee be the same as the protector?
no, the protector can only be the protector. They can't serve in no other capacity. So the protector is not a part of the board. They're like a separate position.
Okay. And what about, can the protector be a beneficiary?
No, the protector cannot be anything else.
Okay. Okay. Can people who are on the board be the same as the beneficiary?
No, the beneficiary cannot be board members.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Next we have Jasmine.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly.
Hello?
How are you, Jasmine?
Oh, wonderful. I put a question in the chat, but wasn't sure if it would get answered. I'm just curious about documenting, um, like from the business trust, if I transfer funds from the business trust to the private family trust, that transfer is a donation, or is that transfer a 1099? I'm not quite sure of the documents needed in between the trusts.
It is a K-1 distribution.
So K-1 distribution from the business trust.
To the family
And-
trust.
Okay. And also, I know we haven't gotten to it yet, but to donate to our nonprofit, our nonprofit has to, that documentation of the donation is like a statement letter or something to the
It's a
IRS, kind of like what your church gives you or something.
yeah, two things. So it is considered a charitable contribution. So it's going to be on the 1041 form, and then you are going to have a donation receipt as the documentation.
Gotcha. That's all I needed. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Jasmine. Next we have Ricardo.
Hey, how's it going, Christina?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you once again for today's class.
You're welcome.
So, I did have a couple of questions on personal life insurance. Under what trust will this personal trust or personal life insurance go?
Ideally, you wanted to put it in your family trust.
And once we distribute those funds, or let's say whoever beneficiary passed away, is that going to be a taxable event for whoever's the beneficiary, or how is that going to go about?
Is what a taxable event? Is receiving the
So
death
whenever the
benefit?
yes, whoever's obviously the family trust is going to receive the death benefit. So when it's time to pay that amount out to whoever it was assigned to, uh, is that going to be a taxable event or?
That's a really good question. So you should reserve that question for our CPA. If it is a taxable event. And based off of what I know, it depends on the size of the inheritance. So there is an inheritance tax. Um, so it depends on the size of the estate. So they have like a minimum. I don't know what it is though. I think it's like 12 million or 20 million, something like that.
Sounds good. I'll go ahead and reserve that question for later on.
On Friday.
Now, yes. Now the next question is the special provisions for special needs individuals. You said you were going to send it to us.
So I'm only sending it to whoever is requesting it. So if you send an email to me and my team, we will email you back with the attachments with the special needs provisions.
Sounds good. And the last question that I have is, can a trustee hold a secretary position?
No. So you have to understand that the secretary, so the trustee is everything, right? The trustee is the end all be all, right? The trustee is the only fiduciary in the entire trust. Okay. So is the trustee going to do secretarial tasks? Yeah. Until they appoint a secretary. Once they appoint a secretary, then the secretary is going to do the secretarial task, which is, receiving correspondence, documenting the meeting minutes, record keeping, all of those things, right? And so ideally, you have to create your board. And so it can't just only be you on the board. So if you have one other person, that one other person most likely is an executive secretary if it's not a co-trustee.
Okay, yeah, that explains it. And I had a last question that was hiding. So is this same trust going to hold the cryptocurrencies or cold wallets?
Yeah, so you can put it in any one of the trust. So you get to choose where you want to house the crypto. I see a lot of people put crypto into the business trust because it's an investment, but the family trust can also hold investments as well.
Sounds good. That answers all my questions. Thank you.
You're welcome, Ricardo. Next we have Uzi. Hi, what goes regarding the trust and what type?
Hello, can you
Hi.
hear me?
Yes, perfectly found. Internet
Okay, good.
from.
My only question is, when it comes to board members, to any of the trust, family trust, business trust, 501(c)(1) trust, do the board members have to be trustees, or can they just be elected board members?
Elected. You're appointing them as members of the board. They are not trustees.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. Next we have Jamar. Hey, Jamar.
Hey, how you doing, Christina?
Fantastic. How are you today?
Good, good, good. I gotta say again, another amazing class. Um, just like one of the gentlemen said earlier, I feel a little bit more empowered because I got a little bit more information. So once again, another amazing class.
Thank you. Appreciate that so much. Thank you, thank you,
Yeah,
thank you. Yeah.
definitely, definitely. So, I got a couple questions.
Uh-huh.
Um, in getting like the virtual office for your virtual address and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Can each trust share the same address, or can the virtual address, I mean, can the virtual office give multiple different addresses?
No, the virtual office can give you multiple different addresses.
Okay,
So
perfect.
practice is for every single entity to have its own address. These are three separate entities. They should have their own three addresses. Sometimes it's not economical for people to do that, and so they'll bunch it up to where, they'll put the same address, or they'll have two of the trusts have one address. So it's all in how you operate it, but best practice is to have separate information for all three entities because these are three separate trusts.
Okay, all right, perfect. So I got that down. Secondly, if Wyoming is the trust address for the domicile, and I live in another state, how would I go about doing the notary?
You have to do it electronic. You have to do it. So that's why, okay, sorry, I'm getting confused. I thought you were talking about how you're going to notarize the virtual address. If you're going to get your virtual address and it's going to be in Wyoming, that company is going to have you electronically do it. As far as your trust goes, that's why every single notary section has the state and county that you have to specify where it's going to be notarized. So your domicile and where you get it notarized don't necessarily have to be the same place. You have to identify where you're getting it notarized.
Oh, okay. All right, great. And lastly, I know you said that best practice is for a non-family member to be your grantor, but would it be, um, I guess, would it be against what you would suggest if it was going to be like a father or a mother to be the grantor of the trust?
hmm
Mm,
So, if that's your last resort, then you would just have to make changes to the trust indenture.
okay, gotcha. Okay, and I think the absolute last one is your successors. When you appoint a successor, do you only appoint one successor, or do you say like say for example, I had two daughters and I wanted one daughter to be the successor, and if anything was to happen in respect to her being able to be the successor, then the next following successor will be my daughter, or do you just do one? Um, and what would you suggest with that?
That's a great question. So you can have multiple nominees. So you will have your first nominee and your second nominee.
Okay. All right. Yep, I gathered on that one. Okay. All right. Appreciate it so much. And once again, a great class, and I will be front and center tomorrow.
Okay, awesome, Jamar. I'm so excited. So thank you so much for those kind words, and I'm glad that you hanging in for the whole workshop. I
Absolutely.
know it's a lot. I know it's a lot. Um, so I'm looking in the chat real quick. So, Cerna, I hope I say your name right, says if the certificate of trust has a co-trustee, does the co-trustee also have to sign the Schedule A? No, the co-trustee doesn't have to sign any other area, only the certificate of trust. Um, and the next one is what information goes into iPostal address regarding the trust. So they're going to ask you for like the business name when you're signing up for iPostal. And so you have to put the name of the trust. Now, one thing that I do want you to be aware of when you are signing up for the virtual address services is that you are going to have to disclose your identity because you are signing up for mail forwarding and they are using the US Postal Service. That is a government agency. So it is illegal for anybody to accept mail on your behalf. And so they need a notarized letter from you stating that they are authorized to receive the mail on your behalf and forward it to whatever address you want them to forward it to. So you do have to provide identification. You do have to provide them with a notarized authorization. And um, what's the other thing I wanted to mention? That's the only way that you're able to get approved for your virtual address. So keep that in mind. Someone had asked about a PO box. The thing about PO boxes is that there are certain third parties that don't accept it. Like banks don't accept PO boxes or certain banks. Sometimes the IRS doesn't accept PO boxes. So that's why we stay away from PO boxes. But there's one unique thing about a PO box and it depends on the company. So the PO box address usually starts with PO box, but there is a mailing address that you can use as an alternative. And so if you contact your PO box company and ask them for the alternative mailing address, then they'll give it to you. So it'll have like a regular street address, and then the suite number will be the PO box. So be like PMB or something like that, and then whatever the number of the box is. So there is a way to get around it. I've seen several people do it. And if that is your circumstance, then contact the company that provides you with the PO box to see if you can get a physical address. So there is a need for a physical address because you are going to apply for an EIN, because you are going to open up a bank account. And so all of these things require the trust to have an address. Okay. So yes, there is a need. And next we have Najma. And I'm wondering, do I donate trust from your business trust?
Christine, I have a question. When you mentioned that the trust can give out annual gifts, you said the trust is not taxed, but the person receiving the gift is taxed? Is that what you
Oh,
mentioned?
oh no, 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 it's the other way around. So the what when it comes to the distribution, if you have what is considered distributable net income, right? Money, if you
Mhm.
distribute that money to the beneficiaries are taxed. All
Okay.
right. If you don't distribute that money, then the trust is going to be taxed on that money. So let's just say that we're talking about $10,000, right? So if the $10,000 stays in the trust and it's not taxed, then, excuse me, and it's not distributed, then the trust has to pay taxes on that income. If it distributes it to the beneficiary, then the beneficiary has to pay taxes on the income. So that's the tax portion that that you were referring to. And now the other part of your question is if the trustee is able to give annual gifts. Yes. So you can give the beneficiaries annual gifts, and those gifts are not subject to taxes. So they're tax free. So that was the point that I made in that section.
Okay. And as far as the beneficiaries, knowing the rights and responsibilities of beneficiaries, who's responsible for making sure they get educated as far as the trust is concerned, or is that on the trustee, or make sure the beneficiaries understand what's going on with a trust and where their responsibilities lie? Who's
That's
responsible for
correct.
making sure they know that?
It's the trustee. So the trustee
Mhm.
is the only fiduciary, and the trustee is responsible for every little thing. And so that also includes the beneficiaries meeting the minimum education requirements. So yes.
Mhm. Okay. And you now UBI is the same as TCUs, is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am. They're identical.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Christina. That's it for me.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
No, I said that's the, oh, one more. The suggested number of trustees, should it be odd in case they have to vote on something between themselves and you have a tiebreaker?
That's a really good question. So, the board should be an odd number just in case, so that it could end in a unanimous vote.
Okay. Okay, thank you. That's it. Have a great one.
You're welcome. Thank you. Um, so Charles was asking which trust should the stock account and the life insurance policies go under? So typically you want the life insurance policies to go into your family trust. The stocks, you can either choose the business trust, if it doesn't have like any LLCs or corporations. If not, then you'll put it into the family trust. What trust should crypto go into? So you can put that into any trust. And if you have any other questions that I wasn't able to answer, you can email me. So my email is Christina@sevenwaystowealth.com. Can the successor be a beneficiary? Reese, is that your question? I'm not sure if I answered that question, but yes, the successor can be a beneficiary. So once the successor becomes a trustee, then they will either remove themselves as a beneficiary or they can keep themselves as a beneficiary. They just have to ensure that there are other beneficiaries. But yes, the successor can be a beneficiary. And when it comes to the successor, just make sure that when you're appointing them as a successor, that at that time that you are nominating them, that they are at least 18 years or older. So are the funds placed in the family trust considered income? So it depends on the funds. So are you lending the funds to the family trust because that is not income? Or did the family trust generate that money based off the assets? Then that would be considered income. So it depends on the origination of the funds, the origin of the funds. Reese, do you have another question or did I answer your question because I saw it in the chat?
Oh,
All right. Next we have Nandi. Did I say your name right?
You doing
You.
today? Oh, there
Oh,
you are. Okay.
oh,
How you
hi.
doing today?
I'm great.
I was just wanting to ask this one question right quick, and that's about should the board member be a family member? Like another family member can should they be someone else that's not in the family?
So the board member can be anyone, there's no restrictions. So they can be blood related to you. They can also be someone that you feel is more qualified because sometimes our family is not qualified.
That's
So,
right.
especially if you're appointing someone as a treasury and they're doing like, bookkeeping and stuff like that, they might not be the right person. So, it doesn't have to be a family member, so it could be related or non-related. There's no restriction.
Okay. Thank you.
You're
And you
welcome.
look good. How was Africa?
Thank you. Africa was amazing. I am gonna go back, and I think I might go back sooner rather than later. Ga-
Okay.
Ghana, Ghana is it.
Well,
Ghana
maybe
is
the
it.
next trip, maybe I'll get a chance to make it with you.
Yes, yes. I'm
Okay.
so tempted that I want to bring you guys back to Ghana. But there's talks about other parts in the continent like South Africa and Kenya, but I'm ready to go back to Ghana.
Okay. Okay. I'm glad you had fun. All
Yeah,
right.
so you're invited. Come
All
along.
right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Me
All
too.
right.
I'm coming.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad. Come on. Come
Yes, I
on.
got to be there.
So the goal is for us to be able to travel as a community. So if we can do that, that would just be a blessing. So I'm just like looking forward to us being able to meet and just to do, to do the same things and also to explore the world. So we will
Count
have
me in.
Yay! We will
Yeah.
have a lot of travel opportunities. So I will be letting you guys know soon where we're going to be traveling to this year. And everyone is invited, and it's beautiful for us to come together. It really is. So let's see here. We have Anna. Hey, Anna.
Hi,
And
Christina. I
hi, how
just
are
have
you?
good. How you doing?
Great, great, great.
So I just have few questions. The first one is, you mentioned about the source of the funding. Let's say you have money that you have earned through income, through your salary, right? So you already have paid taxes and you have quite of amount in investments, stocks, and so. Um, what will make more sense to transfer those funds to a family trust, to a business trust, or to a philanthropy type of trust?
That's a really good question. So I would tell you that it depends on how you want to deploy that money, but it would make more sense to put it into the family trust. So that money, you definitely want it to be under the trust because then it'll be protected, right? Because that money is not protected just by being in your personal name, right? Because then it's subject to, you know, being garnished, right? Garnishment. So you don't want that. So It depends on how you're going to use the funds. Now, if you feel like you're going to use the funds for business purposes, like to open up a business or to do, any type of investing, maybe get a rental property or something like that, then you would want to lend that money to the business trust so that you can just deploy it straight from the business trust into the business endeavor or the partnership or the like the real estate or something. So it
Mm-hmm.
depends on the end goal. But typically, if you don't have a plan for the funds, it's just like savings, then just place it into the family.
Okay. And then my other question is, I feel that yesterday you mentioned this, but I'm not sure if I heard in my mind or you actually said it. Did you say that 401ks are not the type of funds that you will transfer to a trust? Did you say that? Well, I thought I heard that.
So with the 401ks, that 401k cannot be owned by a trust. So the funds, the money, if you're going to pull it out of your 401k, a lot of people think I can put my 401k because your 401k is like a brokerage, right? It has
Mm-hmm.
investment. You're
Mm-hmm.
probably invested in the stock market, in the S&P
Yeah.
or index fund or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, it can't be owned by the trust. So the most that you can do is you can change the beneficiary on your 401k to
Mm-hmm.
make a trust the beneficiary of your 401k. So that would be something that you would want to do sooner rather than later, as soon as you have that trust set up. So you'll list the trust as the beneficiary, but the funds, if you are eligible to like take the funds out for investments, because you can invest in real estate, things like that,
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, you can transfer those funds into the trust and then deploy them into like real estate. But when I was referring to the 401k, what I was saying was ownership. So the
Mm-hmm.
401k cannot own the trust cannot own the 401k.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then just one more question for curiosity. You often talk about transferring funds among the different trusts. Why? Is that a way to avoid paying taxes? What is, I feel that you often say, okay, you transfer from the family to the business, or you transfer from the business to the family. Why? Tell me about that.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, so we do not avoid paying taxes, we pay taxes.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of tax advantages using these types of entities, and you're going to learn about it when our CPA teaches you, okay? So we have a
Okay.
CPA that he's going to teach you all of the tax advantages. And so for a quick example, right? If you have $50,000 in the trust, right? You will have to pay $50,000. You would have to pay taxes on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
because it's a trust, the trust has a beneficiary, then what you can do is you can do a distribution, a K-1 distribution from one trust to the next. And then the trust that has the 50,000 does not have to, it doesn't trigger a taxable event. So that means that because Trust A distributed, Trust A doesn't have to pay taxes on the 50,000.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you hear me saying that is for there's a lot of tax advantages with these entities. So you will learn more about it on Friday because our CPA
Mm-hmm.
is going to go step by step and show you the actual tax forms and show you what you're able to write off and show you how you're able to, distribute between the other various organizations.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Christina. Christina, I'm having a great time and learning a lot through this. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, Hannah. Thank you. And then we have Reese. Um,
So, familiar with what is referred to as deferring taxes and was another guy who was who I was about to enroll with. It's weighing the options between
Uh,
this other guy who's in Texas.
Reese, I cannot hear one. I can't make out one word. I'm so sorry.
Check this out.
I'm not
Just
sure
if
if you
it's
have, maybe it's your microphone or I don't know if you have headphones. But it's so muffled and then the background. Do you want to put it in the chat because I cannot make out what you're saying?
put it in the chat.
Okay. Um, let's see here. One moment. So, Dale asked a question. I will be forming an LLC in a more favorable state than my residing state. Do my trusts have to be in the same state of the LLC? So it actually depends on the state statutes for the state that you're choosing to set up the LLC. So you have to go by their guidelines. So visit their Secretary of State to see what the guidelines is for forming an LLC in that state. Next we have Ricardo.
Hey, Christina.
Hey.
So I'm here again. The question that I had, as a trustee, you can add and remove beneficiaries, right?
Yes.
So the strategy that I had in mind was for that same life insurance was just to add someone temporarily, so they can charge off their life insurance distribution and then, just pay it out to them and then remove them afterwards. Because they're not going to be part of my official trust. It's just someone that's named as a beneficiary, and I just want to, pay out his portion of the funds and, you know, add them and remove them once those funds are paid.
Okay, as long as you document it and as long as it's in the best interest of the trust, then you don't have any restrictions, you can do that.
Okay, and that would be a 1099 to them, or how? Or how would that be documented? Or is it just in
Uh,
minutes?
s- Documenting what exactly?
The distribution that I'm going to pay them out.
Yeah, everything's done in the minutes.
Okay, sounds good. That's all my questions.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, distributions are also documented on the 1041. So you can talk to the CPA about that as well on Friday. What is the best way for a sole proprietor business to transfer funds to a business trust? So it depends on, on how you're paid. Are you paid 1099? Because if you're paid 1099, then yeah, you can transfer those to the business trust. If not, then you can loan the money to the business trust. So it's not a gift. So it would either be a loan or the trust will receive the funds directly through the 1099. Can the trust lend money to beneficiaries? Yes, the trust can lend money to beneficiaries. Do trusts file 1041s and 99 and 990s? Yes. You will learn about that on Friday. ask our CPA. So the last question I see is USPS PO box issued. Does that also apply for a private UPS delivery box? So that is not a question for me. So if you want to know about the privacy of a PO box, you have to ask the company that you're going to get a virtual address with. And then Laura has a question. Do I need a state-specific certificate of trust to open up a bank account? So it depends on the bank that you use, right? So if you use like an online bank that's nationwide, then the certificate of trust that you have is going to be sufficient, right? If you use a bank that is not nationwide, then they typically want to have banking relationships with people or businesses that are local. So it depends on the financial institution. All right, guys, so we're all done for today. So we do have homework. So yesterday you should have gotten into the Facebook group and the Telegram chat and introduced yourself. And as far as today, we want you to work on the asset inventory list. That is a living, breathing worksheet that you can use to take an inventory of your assets. So you have to know what assets you have in order for you to know which ones qualify to go inside the trust and which ones you have to leave outside of the trust. So go ahead and work on the asset inventory list. And we have our recordings available for you. So you can go into the online portal. And inside the online portal, you'll see two sections. So one says the Wealthy Trustee Program. The other one says workshop training recordings. And so when you click on workshop training recordings, then you should see the latest workshop at the very top where you're able to access the recording from yesterday as well as today, as well as every single workshop that we have ever done. Okay. So with that being said, tomorrow we have a lot planned for you. So tomorrow we are going to go through the 508c1a designated trust, which is a tax exempt nonprofit entity. So we're going to review that whole entire indenture, and then we're going to apply for our tax exempt EIN, and then I will show you how to go through the ordination process if you want to become an ordained minister, if you plan on operating it like a ministry. So that is what we have planned for you. So you're going to receive the day 3 email 1 hour before the workshop, and it's going to have the template and the resources that you're going to need for tomorrow. So we will meet here on Zoom tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So same place, same space. So you guys have an amazing rest of your Tuesday. I hope that is highly favored, and we will see you again on Wednesday. So bye, everybody.
Bye, and thank you again, Christina, for
You're
another
welcome.
amazing day.
You're welcome, Jamar. Thank you. Thank you to everybody who stayed on.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye,
Tina,
Ricardo. Bye.
outstanding,
If
outstanding.
they missed the question and answer, that's like a whole nother seminar. You learn so much.
I
Yeah, right?
know. I know. That's why it's so important
Absolutely,
to be.
guys.
Yeah, it's so important to be on the Q&A. because people are asking really good questions and their strategies are different. So I love these Zooms and just all of the atmosphere that we cultivate together. So I absolutely love you guys and I'm excited for tomorrow. So I will be here and we'll be ready to go. And I hope that you are able to make it tomorrow. So God bless everyone. I love you and I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye. Thanks again.